needed us an independent judiciary. Our bar and bench has done a lot in making this dream of our founding fathers a reality. The Supreme Court has expanded the scope of locus standi, public interest litigation for upholding and enforcing the rights of the underprivileged. It has interpreted the constitutional provisions relating to fundamental rights and the directive principles of state policy in a harmonious manner, thus enabling the citizens of India to march towards the goal of socio-economic justice. It laid down that there is harmony and balance between the fundamental rights and directive principles. It interpreted life in Article 21 to include the right to livelihood, the right to speedy trial. In Article 14, the notion of fairness, reasonableness and absence of arbitrariness, and widen the protection of Article 14. Honorable Mr. Justice Kapadia is a friend in need. In fact, when we requested Justice Kapadia that you kindly be the chief guest in today's function, he asked me a question: is any senior judge to me available or not on 15th August? And I told Justice Kapadia that we have inquired both the Chief Justice of India. In fact, today Chief Justice of India is addressing the Supreme Court of Brazil, and he is addressing them. And Justice S.H.Kapadia also has gone to Brazil, and then I told Justice Kapadia that we have checked up, and Justice Agarwal, Justice Prasad and Justice Sinha are not in Delhi today, and therefore, of course, Justice Kapadia always believes in a great sense of propriety, a self-made person. And ladies and gentlemen, we are not sure when it's going to downpour here, and therefore I want to cut short my speech. And ladies and gentlemen, let us rededicate ourselves. And if I may adopt the statement of a former US President John Kennedy, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I request Mr. Manal Banerjee, Attorney General for India, to give his address on this occasion.
I'm afraid I cannot be as brief as my friend. I tend to be a little long-winded. You will bear with me. Honorable Justice S.H.Kapadia, representing one of the three pillars of our Constitution, has raised and unfurled our national flag. Other speakers today, my friends and peers, I particularly also notice there are a few Honorable Supreme Court judges, so I may be permitted to mention them. If there are too many, then I just get away by saying Honorable Judges. May I mention Justice D.K. Jain, Justice Kabir and Mrs. Kabir, Justice Singhi, Justice Silpurkar and Mrs. Silpurkar, and then may I also mention my esteemed colleague, law officer, Mr. B. Datta, and may I also mention Justice Mr. Tariq President and other members on the base of the Supreme Court Bar Association. Today we meet on the 62nd anniversary, 61 years, shall we say, of our independence. Or in many ways people call it the 62nd Independence Day. This at once reminds me of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's famous tryst with destiny speech at the midnight of 14th of this month, August, in the year 1947. I may be permitted to quote a few words from that very famous speech made on the occasion of midnight when midnight of 14th, when India attained independence. I quote, long years ago we made a tryst with destiny, and now the time comes when we shall redeem our pledge, not wholly or in full measure, but very substantially. At the stroke of midnight hour, when India sleeps, when the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom. it is fitting that at this solemn moment we take the pledge of dedication to the service of India and our people and to still larger cause of humanity. Today we heard the singing of our national anthem. I will take this opportunity that our national anthem embodies the essence of secular democracy. One has only to look at Chief Justice Shri Ranjan Das's reference and quotation in the famous Kerala Education Bill of 1957, and I quote, "This is the second stanza of our national anthem, which may not be very familiar to many of you, and I quote, "Day and night thy voice goes out from land to land, calling Hindus, Buddhists, Sikhs, Jains round thy throne, the Parsis, Musalmans and Christians. Victory, victory, victory to thee. Joyo he, joyo he, joyo he, joyo, 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 joyo he." This is the second stanza, which we normally don't sing. Then may I move on to another subject connected with our independence. Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, daughter, wrote it in December 1911. Exactly thereafter, 3 weeks thereafter, in January 1912, on the foundation day of Raja Ram Mohan Roy's Rama Samaj, poet Tagore himself sang it as an ode to the Almighty, Bharat Bhagya Vidhata, victory, victory, victory to thee. Today's function is presided over by Justice Kapadia. I hope Justice Kapadia will not mind if his presence leads me to refer to the important part played by the Parsi community in the struggle for independence. The first Indian parliamentarian in the UK was Dadabhai Nauroji, who was also the second Indian president of the Indian National Congress. Khurshid Ramji Nariman, the famous leader of the Indian National Congress and a visionary, who was affectionately called V. Nariman, the well-known Nariman Point in Bombay is named after him. Every part of India has played its role in the freedom struggle. Mahatma Gandhi or Nehru, Lajpat Rai, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, C. Rajagopalacharya, Bhagat Singh, Chandrasekhar Azad. We saw the pathetic picture of Khudinat Bose, young martyr of 18. Let's have something to say about him. We saw in the newspapers 100 years of his martyrdom. This young revolutionary, the story about Khudinat Bose is this. He belonged to the district of Midnapur in Bengal, and he joined a secret society maybe at the age of 15. And his sister told this story that Khudinat Bose was approached by a poor beggar with torn shirts, and he said, and he had a shawl left to him by his father. He belonged to a very, very poor family himself. He handed over the shawl. His sister asked, "What are you doing?" "He'll go and sell it and make some money." He said, "That's right." This young man said, "He will buy food with it, and then I will have the happiness of knowing that he is not going hungry. And how long do I need anything? I know I've joined a secret society. I know I don't have to be around too long." Such words really inspire one. While leaving, he said to his mother, "Akbar biday dao ma ghore ashi." The literal translation means seeking his mother's blessing when he left for his martyrdom. He was hanged, trying to kill the district magistrate of Muzaffarpur who was butchering the revolutions. We also remember apart from Dadabhai Naroji, Umesh Chandra Banerjee, who wrote the first president of the Indian National Congress, who wrote the constitution of the Congress in the Bar Library of Calcutta. Now, there is no need to repeat the role played by Mahatma Gandhi or Jawaharlal Nehru. In Madras, we had an intellectual unsurpassed in C. Rajagopalachari, who deferred with others on accepting the Simon Plan. Who knows what may have been the effect. Mahatma Gandhi in 1916 said, "There is no salvation for India." I quote, "If we are to receive self-government, we shall have to take it. We shall never be granted self-government." In 1922, Mahatma Gandhi enunciated the principle of non-violence. His statement to court was, "The only course open to you judges, and thus either to resign your post and thus dissociate yourself from evil, if you feel that the law you are called upon to administer is an evil, and in reality I am innocent." After a statement before the court, Gandhiji was sentenced to 6 years imprisonment and thanked the judges for his courtesy. There is one piece of personal information which I would like to share. The Cambridge Majlis, of which I was president, hosted a dinner on 28th February 1952 at which Right Honourable Lord Patrick Lawrence of Peacelake, who was a great admirer of India, was present. As you all know, Lord Patrick Lawrence was Secretary of State for India at the time of partition. He said, and I remember these words, they were later reported in the university newspaper, "It was not possible for the British government to continue in India, as it depended largely on the civil services and security and defense services which are no longer available." Let me conclude this address by quoting from a phrase coined by late Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri, which is very relevant today in the situation that India today faces. Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, Jai Hind. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I request Honorable Mr. Justice S.H.Kapadia, Judge Supreme Court of India, to give us the benefit of his Independence Day speech. This is the third time in the history of the Supreme Court that Bar is celebrating Independence Day in this law.
Mr. Attorney General of India, Praveen Parekh, President of the Bar Association, Mr. Adish Agarwal, Vice President, esteemed members on the dais, my brother judges of the Supreme Court, the law officers who are present, friends. I consider 15th of August 1947 to be a defining day for the reason that on that day certain defining values were stated. Those defining values were rule of law, pluralism, and coexistence. Today, on completion of 61 years, we have to ask ourselves the question whether over the years we have stood by these values. I am a very optimistic person.